And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcast. I gave a review on our Monday show talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. Big success, Marvel, Doctor Doom, RDJ, all that is being mentioned. Comic-Con, the whole works was on the Monday show. The upcoming this weekend, I have for you a return of John Orlando from the PVD cast as we talk about the state of pro wrestling with SummerSlam this weekend and also as well All In. We talk about that plus best and worst commentators of all time. And I asked John the biggest question in pro wrestling. So find out what that is. I'll upload the video tomorrow to the Pop Culture Cosmos YouTube channel and upload it to all the audio channels here over the weekend as well. But also is here Joe Soro. Go ahead and check him out today at Simblades with the Y.com. Of course. Yeah. I actually reported on it on that episode, which you left, Cool Bros. So, yeah, whatever. Slow, man. You're a little slow. Of course, he's Mr. Simblades with the Y.com, and of course, Ox1947 at LakersBall.com. Our good friends, John Costa on Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner. Big shout out to everyone on those channels we're beaming in on right now. Also, as well, of course, the Lakerholics crew of Laker Tom, Michael Heinrich, and Jamie Sweet. Big shout out to those guys. L Rob, I know L Rob will not be there for a little while. He's going to say he's waiting for the season to start, so he'll be back in the fall. But those three guys hopefully be back this weekend for another Lakerholics episode. Also, of course, our good friend Stone Hansen at report_record. Lakers in 5, Empire Jeff TV, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Yo, just want to make sure you like and subscribe to all those great shows. And please, while you're in the mood to subscribe to our great channel. We're almost at 1,800. We are so close. I think 1,797. So please like and subscribe to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. JSJ has patience because he backed himself into a corner and he can't really do anything right now. So Rob, you could say it's patience, or I could say it's incompetence. I'll probably lean towards the latter than the former. But it is, of course, first Team USA coming out today with a win on the line. They would advance on to the quarterfinals against South Sudan, and they did just that. They played well in the first half. That second quarter, the defense really turned it up a notch, caused a lot of turnovers and havoc, and really contested a lot of shots really well. You saw some of the best of Team USA in that second quarter, and they just pulled out to a comfortable 19 to 20 point lead, and they never gave it up as far as double digits are concerned as they cruised in the second half to an easy 103-86 victory, putting them into the quarterfinals. They still play one more group game against Puerto Rico on Saturday, and here today to discuss the game that we were together. You guys asked us to be on playback. We were on playback. Nobody else was on playback. Good man indeed. It is, of course, Alex1947 at LakersBall.com. It is Joe Soro. Joe, great to have you here. Joe puts the comments in there. He's putting he put on all the channels. Joe, great to have you here, my friend. A dominant victory today. I know you and I had plans to go ahead and do some things during the game, but man, they went on that run to put it up by 19, and it just looked like the game was over from there.
The bench pretty much took the reins, and
Bam Adebayo today really killed it.
Good. The less stress, the more evening out you can do. I mean, Steph Curry might as well have just stayed in San Francisco at this point.
He looked bad today.
He looks like he's there to collect, and he's going to let everyone else collect, which is fine. I guess he's earned that right. It is a every 4-year tournament. There's enough talent on this team to win it all. And we're only going to likely be angry as if they lose. So if they don't lose, no one is going to remember that Steph Curry scored 3 points against South Sudan. And it was nice to hear a little bit about the South Sudan progression. I guess they don't have currently any indoor basketball places. They are going to have one apparently at the end of the year, so that's good. I see progress in places where there hasn't been progress. I know your favorite player of all time, William Gabriel, was playing today, and he
give him some credit. He played with some heart. I'll give him some credit, Joe.
It reminds me of Pau Gasol. I'm sitting there going, when Pau Gasol would play for Spain, and Pau's a Hall of Famer, Laker great, Memphis Grizzly great. I'm not dogging on him in any way, but I always felt that Pau Gasol played like a dominant one when he was playing for his country.
Yeah.
Wenyan Gabriel seems to have a lot of pride in the opportunity that his country has as of now, and he didn't play well today, but he did have 10 rebounds. I guess he didn't play too bad. He had seven turnovers, so we're kind of used to that as Laker fans in terms of his performance. So, but not a surprise at all that the USA team came in and took care of business. They're going to play Puerto Rico on the 3rd, and then the quarterfinals is on August 6th. I have full confidence that the USA team will finish that game, whomever they end up playing, going to the semifinals, and then eventually going to the finals and wrapping this sucker up so that we can start focusing on what Rob Pelinka isn't doing like usual.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Sorrell along with me, Joe Glassford. Thanks so much again for watching, listening. Truly appreciate it. Team USA with the easy victory, 103-86. They move on to the quarterfinals. LeBron James, AD, doing pretty good. 21 minutes for LeBron, 12 points. AD coming up with basically the early intimidation with the block. We had a really good block shot early to set the tone defensively, and he got the start today, Joe. They sat down Joel Embiid. They played Jason Tatum. They started him, so they didn't want to hurt his feelings anymore because, his feelings were hurt. They played Tyrese Halliburton. They played the entire roster except for Joel Embiid. Your thoughts, maybe resting Joel Embiid, or maybe this could be the start of something where AD starts a few more games?
Joel Embiid should have never been on this team. So whether he's there or not is irrelevant. I'm not sure why Steve Kerr called himself an idiot for not playing Tatum. If you needed evidence, I know it was only one shot, but we saw what happened when Tatum took his 1 3-point shot. It looked like a shot that William Gabriel used to shoot back when he was a Laker. I think it hit the top of the backboard, I think. Definitely the right side of the backboard, but I think it might have hit the top part of it as well. When you're trying to be accommodating as a coach, and that's the thing with Steve Kerr, he's such a meddling pansy. He's either meddling or he's a pansy. He's the guy that always wants to be liked. I don't like people like that. I never have. If you are trying to do your best to be liked by everyone, I just don't trust you. Because when the stuff hits the fan, usually you end up coming up lame. At least in my book, anyways. But anyways, Joel Embiid should just go home. I don't think he is needed in this situation. He should have never been on the team. And I don't mind Embiid's openness. I'm actually pretty for it.
It's refreshing.
It is. The problem is at some point you have to back it up. Just for credibility standpoint, so that we can support your trash talking. When you're trash talking or when you're being too honest, at some point you gotta back it up. What do we say on the show? If you're stubborn and you're right, it's not stubborn. You got to have the results behind your talk. Otherwise, it just becomes talk. And we need Joel to possibly this year come full circle on that. And he has an opportunity to do that. We're not invested in the FIBA or the Olympic or the international team as much as we are the National Basketball Association. We want our teams to win for our country, but there isn't an off season where there isn't a season really where, other than this 13 games that they play, it's not enough to get truly invested in getting nervous for games. It's not enough substance. Whereas an 82 game season with an in-season tournament now, with a play-in, with the playoffs, with the commercials, with all that, you're more into that than you would be, I guess, for a 3.5 week process.
It just seems to me, though, that if they stay focused, Joe, this is their to lose. I mean, France barely got by Japan earlier today. Shout out to Rui. Shout out to Victor Wembanyama. I mean, Victor had to save the French from getting upset today by Japan. So I think Germany, as was mentioned, looked pretty good. But the Wagner brothers and Dennis Schroeder, they would have to have really good games in order for Team USA to actually get beat. I just think if Team USA stays focused, even with Curry struggling, I still think, I mean, you saw everybody else splashing threes. Edwards, Booker, Durant, they're shooting well enough to go ahead. And if anybody struggles, Joe, they've got enough depth, which is something I had to email back and forth about having people understand what depth is lately on our emails. Team USA has enough depth to get it done, even with Curry struggling like he is.
I thought about something today. For years, it was the amateurs playing this tournament. And then in 92, to advance basketball around the world, they allowed the pros to play, and it was the greatest sports team ever assembled, and it likely still is. What's the next big progression for Olympic basketball or international basketball for the United States? What do you think that
3x3 they kind of suck on right now? So
I'm not really taking that one seriously.
Okay.
I think that's a little kind of gimmicky for me.
Okay.
But what's next? What would reinvigorate this tournament again? Because I'm not excited about it. I'm not watching because, again, two of our guys are there and I want the team to win. But when you watch the 92, even the 96, hell, even the 2000, what Vince Carter did in 2000 during that little run, it was exciting. What is next? What could they do to make this thing exciting? Because with all due respect to Tyrese Halliburton and Derek White and even Anthony Edwards, 90% of this country doesn't know who the hell those guys are. So what could reinvigorate this thing? I've been thinking about it today, and I wanted to kind of bounce that off the crowd and maybe you, to where we would really be interested, like be anticipating the process. Because look at this. Here, you're going to laugh at this. Mm-hmm. I remember when Shaq left for LA, there was a lot of talk about Shaq, and they were interviewing Anthony Hardaway, and even the NBA resonated into the Olympics, and it was exciting because you're watching Shaq play and you know that the upcoming season is a Lakers. So there was a lot of dialogue about that. But since Adam Silver, the Players Union, absolutely obliterated the one thing that they owned against the NFL, what have we had this summer that we can kind of be excited? Oh, they didn't put Jaylen Brown on the team. Ooh. Again, 90% of this country doesn't know who the hell Jaylen Brown is. So I'm really curious to try and figure out if there is something to figure out and to kind of put some little bit of a flavor on here because we've been so damn negative for the last month with this trash organization, or at least how it's being run. Let's think about something positive. What would be something positive that the Olympics can do to reinvigorate and make this team, exciting again, where you're anticipating the Olympics?
Well, I mean, there was still, according to the numbers, I mean, over almost 30 million people saw the opening ceremony. 11 million people saw the game on Sunday, for instance. I mean, it's still getting huge numbers, Joe. So it's not like people aren't getting excited about it. I mean, cool, bro, whatever his stance is, he's entitled to his opinion. I think it's absolutely crazy, but okay, it is what it is. But
I don't care what Cool Bro says, by the way. For the record, every time Cool Bro talks, or whatever the hell his name is, it's much like how Rodell's emails are at this point. When you don't listen, unless you're my children, then you're gonna, that's a whole different story. When you don't listen, at some point, the mute button gets put on.
I have a feeling I know why. Cool, bro. Okay, it's big uproar. I get it. Controversial. What happened again? But
how many
these people,
we've been on here for
people. Well, I was just gonna say a lot of these athletes, thousands of athletes, Joe, they train for years for this moment. Years. And it just seems like it's a little disrespectful if you're at least not taking the time out of your day to support them, at least for 5 minutes of your day.
You said there are 11 million people that watch this game.
The Sunday game. No, I don't know about today's game.
Okay, that's a good amount of people, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's what compared to the NBA Finals.
Okay, so where are we in our observation of anything these days? Because I'm confused.
I'm just letting you know it's
watching.
supported.
Who's watching? Is what I'm asking, because people around me are not. Mm-hmm. Things maybe around me have changed. People don't watch the Lakers like I do. Even my friends who are Laker fans don't watch the games. So who's watching these games and creating this audience that's backing up a $76 billion contract, and not only backing it up, but putting it in 18 different areas where you have to subscribe to stuff? I'm curious. I'm in wonder. Is it gambling? Is there some kind of scam going on where everything is set up in casinos because there are more areas now where you can gamble and it's legal, and that's creating this rating kick? I don't know. I'm confused. I'm very, very confused. I don't know anyone in and around my circles that watch the games like we do. So where are these numbers coming from?
No, I'm assuming it's, I don't know if it's still, they do Nielsen. I think Nielsen has graduated into something else as far as data sharing and collecting that data, but it's still something that gets reported on. Ratings do every single day. They seem to get, or at least during the week, they get reported on even for the weekend shows. So the thing is now that Comcast, aka as far as NBC, USA, also as well Peacock, which are the three main channels putting out Olympics. Although you can find it under CNBC, MSNBC, and other networks like that. They're just trying to fill as much time out. This is a big win. In my house, I'm just telling you, I've got the Olympics on 24/7 with my family. My family are just behind the gymnasts. They're behind the swimmers. I'm into the beach volleyball. The rugby was kind of cool to watch, Joe. They're pretty good. They're pretty violent, Joe. That gets pretty violent. The big shout out to our friends in Australia, man. Because rugby's kind of cool. I enjoyed watching that. I mean, there's some really good stuff, really good levels of competition. That's something that you don't see but every 4 years.
I believe there's something that switched maybe in me. The last time I was excited, other than in sports, for a championship. Excited about some kind of an event, which was the final episode of Breaking Bad. I'm talking like you could feel it in the air. I came home late that night and I was dead dog tired. I mean, I came in, I think, around 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and I was dead tired. If it wasn't for that episode, and I avoided everything, I avoided my phone, I avoided the radio, I didn't want to hear anything. And what was cool about coming home when I did is I didn't have to worry about, I'm not gonna break anything here, cool bro, and you should go to bed then, or I'm gonna break it right now. No pun intended. So I come home and I am wide awake. I am wide awake. I miss that feeling. I miss the feeling of The Dark Knight Rises opening on Friday. That was the last time I got excited from my memory about a movie to come out. That was 12 years ago.
I'm sorry.
So I think I might be getting out of the excitement game.
Okay.
In things that I used to get excited about, or the product sucks. I don't know. You tell me.
I was excited for Doom Part 2 to come out because that met my expectations. Deadpool and Wolverine, I was pretty good excited. I would say we saw it first weekend, so yeah, I was pretty excited for that. But yeah, I could understand that. I am excited that the Olympics are coming back to Los Angeles in 2028. Will that change your mind as far as your level of excitement? I mean, it's going to be closer to you, closer to your family. I know I've already talked to my family about trying to see if we could coordinate something, but that again, with my daughter still be in college right by then, I'll be hard to coordinate, but we'll give it a shot.
I think I've soured at the realities of things around these things. I've heard some sad stories about France being dirty and people getting stuff stolen and all that. Whatever. It might have been happening even, when I didn't have information on that. But the Rio thing kind of threw me off too. Okay. What was going on in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. You have people that are eating dirt, and here are these guys building these billion-dollar facilities for a game for 2 months, and once they're done, they just leave it for dead.
Yeah.
Maybe I think that might be what it is.
LA is a little bit better set up for it. So I'm looking forward to it. We'll see how well we will be 4 years from now. So
better mafia movie between Goodfellas and The Godfather. Man,
I'm partial to Goodfellas.
That is a very hard. That is like picking between my children. The answer is they're even to me.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, I can't do it.
No, that's good. That's actually very good, Joe. That's actually very good because because people want you to do like the Iron Claw and the as far as Fritz von Erich, I pick you first, Carrie, or David, I pick you second, Carrie. I pick that famous scene in the movie where he's picking his kids in order, and I can't do that either at home. So that's just fine.
Call me naive. Call me naive. Because I'm going by what Kevin Von Erich said, right? That's his son. I'm going to roll with what Kevin says. Maybe he just did that to motivate him. He probably didn't really mean it. And Fritz got a lot of flack from the movie, and even before then, obviously, because his marriage fell apart. But how am I going to argue against Kevin Von Erich when he's on TV saying my father was great? Don't blame him for anything. He was great.
He's passed. He has been very gracious. Again, if you watch that period of time like I did, you're not going to get as much enjoyment out of it. If you didn't, and you watch it as a straight up movie, I think you're going to like it a lot more than
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why I enjoyed it. For those of you who have to understand the movie business a little, it makes it a little easier to understand. Most people are not knowledgeable in the business and don't understand it. This movie should have been $100 million movie, but they would have never gotten that money from it. Had the movie been $100 million movie, there would have likely been in my feeling of it, it would have been but it would have been wise to have a 3-hour director's cut type setup. This story needed to be told really in a 10 series movie, kind of like the Offer, the story about how The Godfather got made.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what this should have been. It should have been a 10-part series, and you should and have all the brothers in there. And the main issue, really, the one that I had, and it's not just me, a lot of people, is you should have probably picked a better Ric Flair.
Oh, that Ric Flair.
My God, I know this is going to sound weird, but I know Jay Lethal is black, but Jesus, he's the only guy I've ever heard sound like
he does a great one. He does a great impersonation of Ric Flair.
Hey, look, I'm going to go on a limb here. Put him in whiteface at that point. He would have been able to do it. Just do it. Anthony Hopkins played Othello 40 years ago. It's acting, folks. Get the right guy. Acting matters in these type of things. So that's just how I feel.
The Iron Claw is, if you haven't watched that period of time at World Class Championship Wrestling, I think you'll enjoy it a lot more than folks like me who watched every week and will nitpick it to death. But if you didn't, I think you will find it a really good movie. I will admit to you on that. I'm glad you got a chance to enjoy it and watch it. But it is, of course, the Lakers fast break. Team USA with the victory, which, again, 103-86. They move on to the quarterfinals. Richard, it is actually now gross Deadpool and Wolverine over $500 million worldwide in its first 5 days. So it is killing it at the box office, and $1 billion around the corner for it. So hopefully everyone get a chance to see it. Because I thought it was a good movie. And again,
it's Hugh Jackman might be the most beloved. He might be the most perfect movie star that we've seen in at least since maybe Jack Nicholson. When I talk about when you think of a movie star, someone who radiates on film, and someone who apparently is one of the best people to be around on a set. I mean, could you imagine a producer? Just imagine a studio and a producer. You have Hugh Jackman. Every woman wants him. Every man wants to be him. He's a great actor. He's good looking. He's tall. He's ripped. Everybody loves him on set. All actors love him. They're always talking good things about him. You got all these things, and then to boot, every time he gets up in any of these movies, he's dropping 6 figures to 7. I'm sorry, 8 to 9 figures for you. They flat out came out and said, "Hey, man, he's playing Wolverine until he's 90." It's like, just open the cash register. You have the perfect movie star.
Well, that's what actually is said in the movie. So,
and then you have Ryan Reynolds, who was one of my favorite guys before he was even big. I'm talking Buying the Cow. You know that movie, Buying the Cow?
Yes.
Those of you who don't know what the hell I'm talking about, download, rent, buy Buying the Cow. You will laugh your ass off. That was the birth. Well, the birth of Van Wilder was probably a little bit before them, but in terms of its ascent, it was from actually that movie. And I pop that movie in every 3 or 4 months because it's a classic for me. It's a very kind of like back in the day when it was that rental movie that did well. It didn't really get anywhere in theaters, but it was the perfect rental film. He has been great. Van Wilder obviously was good. He was in Blade Trinity, and he did what he did there. Waiting, oh my God, Waiting
is so good.
Oh Waiting is so good. You know how long it took them to make that movie? Like 11 years.
Blade Trinity is not one of his better performances, but Waiting. If anybody wants to see what he was like, his best of during the mid-2000s, get a copy of Waiting. It is really good. Absolutely really good.
And it's not just
and it'll change your mind about how well or not so well, Joe, you treat your waiter or waitress.
Shenanigans is the name of the restaurant. That's
Yep.
actually based off of a restaurant called Bennigan's.
Oh,
Blue
that's
Street.
right. That's right. I thought it was for a second. I forgot it was like, was it TGIF? No, it was
No, it was
Bennigan's.
Bennigan's.
Yes,
I used to
Bennigan's.
there used to be a Bennigan's in central San Diego that we used to go to every week. We had our favorite server there, and that was our spot. It's the same decor, exact same decor. Now I was never in the food industry, but almost all my friends were, and I related to it in the sense of that's what I used to hear in terms of stories and things like that. It was never that graphic, obviously. It wasn't that to that extreme, at least not our conversations. But that lifestyle, I was around it a lot. A lot of bartenders lived the life of bartending. A lot of them would do double shifts during the day, and then, of course, at night, when they were done with their double shift, they'd go to another bar and drink. So they lived that life. But yeah, it's nice to see. It's nice to see that there was an excitement for Deadpool and Wolverine. This is almost the same time last year with Oppenheimer and Barbie.
Yes.
So there is a time during the year, it seems, where things continue to be like it used to be, where people are still interested in going to the theater. I know my family's been wanting to go watch Twister because I can't take my kids to Deadpool and Wolverine. I think they'll
Twisters. It's Twisters.
Twisters. Sorry, Twisters. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what's going on. Jay, I would have picked someone else as Dr. Doom. Obviously, our DJ is gonna kill it, but I'm not a fan of the dual. I'm not a fan of playing two different roles from the same actor. I like an identifier. I like that Hugh Jackman is the Wolverine. I like the fact that Robert Downey Jr. was Iron Man. And now you're gonna go, Dr. Doom, really? You could have picked somebody else.
She's amazing, Richard. I just saw her about half an hour ago. Katie Ledecky. It's funny because she almost by half the swimming pool she won, and it wasn't even one of her best performances from what I hear. I mean, yeah, she dusted the field today in the 1500. I guess becoming the most honored medalist female swimmer of all time. So yeah, congratulations to her. Just absolutely a dominant performance. See, these are things you just feel good when you're an American. Or if you're in Australia and you're seeing someone from your home country or the Philippines or wherever your guys are at, England, wherever that you're watching, because we're being listened to all around the world. And you just see someone from your home country achieve that kind of success. It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling like you're there with them. And I just don't understand. Well, I don't want to go into it with Cool Bro or whatnot. But yeah, again, it just, you're missing out. And I want to emulate back to what I talked about with 2028, and then we'll go on to Rob Pelinka because I promised JSJ we'll talk about it. I really am trying to focus in on going to 2028 because I've said that my dad had, you know Ralph's. You remember Ralph's, the supermarket? They had tickets, like discount tickets for the 1984 Olympics back then. My dad said, "You want to go?" And what up? I was actually Cool Bro's age in 1984, and I just had a similar attitude. I don't care about the Olympics. I don't care about the Olympics. I don't care about the Olympics. I didn't go. I regret that, Joe. I regret it to this day, and I'm not going to make that same mistake twice. My family is excited for what's going on now with the Olympics, and again, if we are all able to in 2028, I'm going to at least go see an event. I don't care if it's like ski shooting, surfing, whatever, skateboarding, because that's the thing. The skateboarding, I saw that the other day. I don't care, Joe. It just to be a part of it would be really cool. I mean, don't you feel kind of good when you see a victory by Team USA?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I I think maybe because we have so many other outlets these days.
Mm-hmm.
Also, when I was a kid in the '90s, I didn't have the responsibilities I have now.
Yeah.
It's your mind is not there. I was talking to a friend of ours who was visiting my wife, and they were swimming in the backyard and talking about stuff, and my concentration isn't. I can't watch a movie during the day. It's impossible. I have to watch a movie at night when it's dead. And even in the theater, we went to go see the Minions and the Inside and Out 2. I was on my phone 20% of the time. The concentration is gone. It's full. The USB is full. You go through your process of work, and then you have your investments that you're keeping tabs on. You're spending time verbally on it, at least. I'm not maybe physically doing it, but there's a verbal connection to it. I'm on the phone at least maybe a half hour to an hour a day. Now imagine that times 365 days out of the year times 5 years. That's a lot of time on the phone. And then on top of that, we do a Lakers show. And during the season, we're watching a game for almost 2 hours and a half, if not more. Then we're doing a show, usually about an hour, hour or two. It's hard to be invested in those things a lot of times. It's very, very difficult. And be enthusiastic about it because your brain is so full of stuff. Oh, and then you got a wife, and you have children to raise. You have schools you got to, figure out. You have doctor appointments. Granted, my wife takes care of most of that, but I still am in the know. I'm a father. I'm up to date on that. I'm being told what's going on. I got to go to the dentist on Friday and clean my teeth. It's so maybe in 4 or 5 years, if I have the chance at finally being somewhere where I'm just focused on one thing, maybe I can start enjoying some of these things a little bit more. But as of right now, I think I might be phased out of the excitement of things like that.
Same here, Hernan. I have it on. The TV's on right now in the living room, and it's on it. Whatever outlet that's actually playing the Olympics, and it's just on in the background, whether it's reruns or actually live events. It just stays on in the background, and we're just watching. And then when we catch something that we see maybe like Katie Ledecky or some performance, something that stands out, Simone Biles, just go and you check it out. It just feels good. Just feels good because they committed their lives to this. They've committed every part of their lives to be that great. You have to commit so much of your time to doing that. And in some cases, that's their childhood, early adulthood, mid 20s. I mean, Katie Ledecky, she's 27, I think. She's committed her life to this. So it just, again, congratulations to all those people that have in the Olympics from all over the world that have won and worked hard and are seeing the I guess the rewards of their hard work in this year's Olympics. So there you go. But before we head on out, Joe, I wanted to go ahead and touch on something for JSJ, because even though you do get us angry every now and then for banning people or timing out people that maybe don't always need to be timed out, I want to go ahead and discuss something you wanted to discuss earlier, and that was Rob's patience, for lack of a better term. I don't think patience is the word. I think the fact that he found himself stuck in a position he couldn't get himself out of, as far as the lack of movement, Joe, for this year's or this off season's transactions or lack thereof. Your thoughts? Will Rob's patience pay off?
No. We got called out on YouTube for being problem announcers with no solution. And I had to write to that person. It's obvious they're new, so they haven't heard our solution. So I'm going to say it again, and periodically I'm going to remind everyone. The solution to this problem is new ownership and obviously new management. Genie should not be running an NBA franchise. And I'm burying myself with all these talks. Unless, Gerald, you decide to take this stuff off YouTube, someone's going to get wind of this if I ever become prominent. And they're going to go, holy crap, look what this guy said about Jeannie Buss, Rob Pelinka, and LeBron James.
It's out there, man. It's too late.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter in the end. I'm not here to be. I love that. I like to be liked, but it can't be at the expense of inadequacy. And I've complimented Rob before, and he's not giving me a reason to compliment him right now. It's the reality of it. LeBron James, there's plenty of tape where I am praising LeBron. But LeBron and I don't have the same personality. I think we're two different generations, and there's things that he does from a personality standpoint that in real life, if I was around that, I would call out. And I've been called out for my aggressiveness and my insensitivity and my judgmental ways. Yeah, maybe there's something wrong with me when it comes to that. But I also have, and LeBron has apparently his receipts. I have my receipts too. Both ways seem to work, at least from what I've seen on TV. I don't know what's going on behind.
We give him credit where it's due. Like, for instance, his play with Team USA has been outstanding, Joe.
And it's nice to know that there's 4 games left, and it doesn't look like the guys have really expensed.
It's late, everyone.
What's the word I want to say?
As far as what?
Expend.
Okay.
Is that the right word?
Yeah, that's good.
See, I went slow this time. They haven't expended themselves enough. So that's good, because we were worried about AD and LeBron. LeBron played, what, 21 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good right there. 19 to 21.
Expensed.
When he does 25, 26 like he did in the game against Serbia, that concerns me, Joe. That starts to concern me a little.
Concern what?
It concerns me as far as the number of minutes, hiking up a little bit more and more and more. Today it was only 21.
No. Well, the team needs to make shots. If they make shots, then LeBron doesn't have to go to the basket every other play.
Sam S. said, I think a new viewer, welcome. Please like and subscribe. Do you give Rob a pass because of the new CBA?
No.
I don't.
Because there wasn't a new CBA the last 4 years, and he's still stuck.
JSJ, again, because we are who we are, and that's the Lakers, and have the biggest, largest, and most notable, I guess, see, now you got me doing it. I guess as far as notoriety wise, the biggest of
Just
anyone out there in the NBA.
We're thinking our heads after.
You're going to hear rumors.
Yeah, if you've been awake since, let's say, 6, like I have.
Same here.
Your mouth is trying to catch up, but it's not.
but as I was just going to say, as far as the NBA is concerned, I mean, because we have our fan base, these rumors, JSJ, just keep on hearing it. I mean, there are other channels. I don't want to single them out or point them out in a positive or negative way that feed off of these rumors. That's the basis of their shows each and every time out. For us, it's just like add-on. I'll answer your questions on it. We'll say whether it's feasible or not feasible, and then go from there. But because the Lakers fan base is so large, you're just going to continue to hear it. There's going to be a new name next week and a new name next week. And then, as Joe has said very astutely, that when they do make a trade, it's going to be probably for someone that we weren't seeing all along.
It's exhausting. And we're going to probably talk about this for another month and a half until training camp starts. And some of you just going to have to live with it.
So before we head on out, actually, Eric has brought something. I don't know. I was thinking about hitting you up and calling you and asking if you wanted to do this and touch on this for an entire episode. But Eric put on there, it would be surreal if the same ownership group owns the Lakers and Dodgers at some point. But the question I posed to you, and thank you, Richard, for the super chat. He has a solution, Bob Myers. We've mentioned Bob Myers. I mean, obviously I think it would put the team in a better direction. The Minnesota GM, he has 1 year left on his contract. Since he's helped build Denver and Minnesota to the teams they are today, would be an outstanding choice as well. But yeah, I don't know if it's going to happen. Like I said, Jeannie is in love and infatuated with Rob, maybe because of his ties to Kobe, what have you. But yeah, the nepotism thing will continue to live on in El Segundo for quite some time. But before we head on out, Joe, I will ask the question. Like I said, I was thinking about devoting an episode to it, but we'll just go ahead and get it out of the way now. Who is more popular right now based on the success of the Dodgers? Trade deadline came. I was just talking to someone for about 20 minutes earlier today about the Dodgers and what he thinks now about the team. He was a little bit more positive on the manager that you speak of so lowly than you were, but he is still a Dodger fan, blue and blue, because he had on the Dodger blue today. Who is more popular in Southern California right now, the Lakers or the Dodgers? The fact that you are thinking about it and didn't just kind of...
Well, this was probably the worst time to ask me that question because Dave Roberts has reared his head again at how inept and pathetic of a manager he is.
Thank you, Richard.
And this management continues to give him a reprieve due to, well, Betts is out and Muncie's out and Yamamoto's out. I'm like, folks, when you're up 5-0 and you know that there's certain pitchers that are struggling and you need to win against a team that's coming at you, why do you continue to risk with guys who are struggling? This has been a question I've been asking since 2017. And for some reason, this management, the one flaw they've had, and there's been every excuse in the book. Well, he's only listening to the analytics and the Friedman. Okay, if he's listening to the analytics, can he at least enhance the enthusiasm in there instead of being a flaccid penis? He's not good until this guy is gone. Now, I'm going to get to the Laker thing, but I'm going to end this on this note since you asked the Dodgers Lakers. Dave Roberts won his only World Series when a guy named Cash, Jesus, I forgot his first name, Kevin Cash, the manager of the Tampa Bay Rays, pulled a Dave Roberts. They were up 1-0 in the 6th inning. Blake Snell, who's a Dodger killer, was mowing people down all game. They didn't know what the hell was coming. Austin Barnes gets one hit off him, and Kevin Cash takes him out. Next thing you know, they open the floodgates. They're up 2-1 within like 5 minutes. Completely derailed the Rays at that point. That was a Dave Robert move. That's the only time Dave Roberts has won a championship with all this talent because someone else pulled a him. and they're not learning their lesson. This schmuck, book it, will put in Clayton Kershaw in a crucial moment if they go to the playoffs at this point. If, let's say if, there's 2 months left and there's a cavalry coming right now. Whether
Okay.
it's Arizona, whether it's San Diego, someone's coming. And until I see otherwise, you will see this pathetic excuse for a manager put in the wrong guy, and they'll get shelled, and then we'll get mad at Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman for not hitting when they're down 7-0 out of the first inning.
Freeman's still away on family leave. Is that correct?
Yes.
My heart goes out to him. I know he's gone through some.
His son has something that's, I guess,
Yeah.
it's not something that's not normal. His kid will be fine.
I hope so. My best to you, Freddie. But just was curious because even in our chat, 2 votes for Dodgers, 1 vote for Lakers, and Darren had it even. So I'm just wondering because the Lakers, they've had their issues, they've had their ups and downs since 2020. If the definitive love that they have is still there comparative to the Dodgers, obviously it is still very much beloved. No one's doubting that. No one's doubting their popularity worldwide as the most popular NBA team. But in the city of Los Angeles, in Southern California, in the media market that it is, Joe, who gets more attention? Who gets more applause? That's
it's hard because LeBron James is one of the most popular athletes on the planet, and then Ohtani is also one of the most popular players on the planet. And then on top of that, the Dodgers draw 3 to 4 million fans every year.
Yes, they do.
Now that's an LA thing. I'd say LA loves the Dodgers right now probably more than the Lakers.
Well, just by its setup, though, they're going to draw more because in a 50,000 seat stadium to a 20,000 seat arena. 41 games.
I don't know what that. You haven't been to Florida, have you? Or Miami? They draw like 4 people.
No, that's Oakland, Joe.
Yeah,
that's Oakland.
Oakland, unfortunately, for that.
No, I'm just saying about the popular. I mean, you can't compare the numbers and the turnstiles because the Dodgers will always win the day. Even when the Dodgers weren't good, they were still turning out 2.5, 3 million there.
I think that there's something about the Hispanic community in Chavez Ravine area.
That's right.
And the Dodgers, that it doesn't matter if those guys take a dump on every seat there, they're still going to sit in it. It's just these guys love the Dodgers. It's going to be 40,000 people there every single day. They'll sit in that sun in
the bleachers,
in the bleachers, or in right field.
I've done that,
or in the first base area, and they'll watch. They'll cook and watch and eat and drink and cheer.
They do that almost every year, Richard. Where
it's the perfect baseball stadium, really. It really is. I think the only place I really wish I had gone to St. Louis this one trip for business. I just missed the Cardinals playing at home, unfortunately, because I usually, whenever I go to any city where there's a sports, especially baseball during the summer, I like to go to the games just to kind of be in a stadium. I heard Busch Stadium is one of the best baseball stadiums to be in.
I've heard that as well.
Yeah. I don't think anybody can really. You're talking about the Lakers, though. The Lakers are a world, as much as the Dodgers also have a worldly following. The Lakers are probably going to have a little bit of an edge, especially if you have.
Well, not just talking about LA. I'm not talking about the world, because the world, the Lakers, I think, have got it.
Okay.
The Dodgers are.
I think the Dodgers take a little bit of a kind of a lead because they are in first place.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they've been up there in recent years. For the 4th time in 5 years, I believe Vegas has them as the odds-on favorite to win the World Series again after the trade deadline.
I don't understand why that would be with Dave Roberts as the manager. I would bet 4,000 to 1 with that schmuck being the manager.
Your eternal hate for Dave Roberts continues on. Even if he wins this year, you'll still hate him.
He's not winning this year, dude.
Well, let's just say they do. Let's just say they
They
do.
won't.
Okay.
No, they won't. Not that guy will. That I'm telling you that 2020 team was. It was an absolute. It's hysterical that he won his one World Series because his opposing manager did what he would do. It's just mind-boggling to me.
Okay.
I can't continue to support a terrible manager. He's bad, guys. He's not just average. He's terrible. He's worse than Darvin Ham to me.
Wow, that is saying something.
He's that bad. I have seen, God, how many games have I watched the last 5 years? I've seen at least 600 Dodger games plus playoffs in that time. I think I know. And they're going to give him a way out. Oh, but half the team is injured. But they don't pay attention to when when he has to make a crucial decision in crucial situations. 90% of the time he fails. It doesn't matter when you're up. Make a call for more than 1 out of 10 that makes sense. You have a pitcher who is confident. You have no pitchers on this team, and this guy's confident and he wants to pitch. He's young. He's asking, let me get this last guy out. No, get out of here. Puts Investia in, first pitch, 2-run homer. And he was lucky that his team bailed his ass out the last 3 innings. He's terrible. Friedman needs to get his head out of his ass and stop. You got to stop with this. You've wasted so many years with this idiot calling the shots, or you calling the shots through him. You got to get somebody in there that can do something.
Okay. I'm just asking because, again, it's just something that I think that is interesting, especially if you live in the Southern California area. I lived there for my first 25 years of my life, and it was the Lakers, a little bit over the Dodgers. The Dodgers, as I grew up as a child in the 70s, yeah, because you had that great infield that I don't think ever got its due later in life. I just thought it was a fantastic infield of Lopes, Say, Russell, and Garvey. And then, they won a World Series, and they were it until Magic Johnson came in and just, as you know the rest, Joe. Magic Johnson came in and wowed the city over, and it was all about magic at that point in time. So the Lakers really rode on that success for quite some time after that. And then, come the turn of the century, the Lakers did the three-peat at the end of 2009, 2010. They won the back-to-back. And I think all that good love has lasted for a little while, but you're right. Over the years, the Dodgers have repeatedly put themselves in position to be close enough to a World Series. So we follow, as human beings, successful teams really closely. It's something for many of us like to do. And I think that, again, it's a close race in LA. Worldwide, I still think the Lakers have the Dodgers, but in LA, I wouldn't, if somebody tells me the Lakers, I won't disagree with them. But if somebody tells me the Dodgers, I won't disagree with them either.
It's not enough.
Fernando Mania, yep. Fernando Valenzuela, that was awesome.
I think the Dodgers should have won 4 World Series in the 80s when you look at how their run was.
Mm-hmm.
The 90s were another blown decade. They had 5 straight Rookies of the Year. Couldn't win a series, let alone go deep in the playoffs. Frank McCourt's small moment of shine in 08 and 09. You had Jonathan Brongston, who that fucking asshole ended up costing the Dodgers a World Series in 08. Matt Stairs, really? Matt Stairs. That's what you have to live for. That's what you have to remember about the 08 team. You acquired Manny Ramirez, and he ignited that team like I had never seen anyone ignite a team before in terms of baseball. I mean, it was unreal how much that guy changed and got those guys in a rhythm, and they just needed to get to the World Series, and they would have smoked the Rays even in 08, but they couldn't close out because he had a Dumsky closer who couldn't freaking all that size, all that speed, all that brawn, putting freaking dead ducks on right across the plate, and ended up costing the Dodgers a World Series appearance. And in 09, same thing happened again. It wasn't as drastic as 08, but 09, we missed out on a Yankee Dodger World Series. It's just I don't like losing, and I don't like losing. I don't like losing when the team should win.
Okay.
You look at, let's say, the most recent teams. The Dodgers lost to the Atlanta Braves in the NLCS in 2021. That year, the Dodgers played their rear ends off, and they had to deal with the Giants making a run that whole year. They beat the Giants. Then they went into the Atlanta series just dead. That one I sort of understood a little bit, but you had no reason to lose 2019, 2022. No reason. No reason to lose those two years. You should have won in 19, and you should have won in 2022. Your teams were stacked. We got screwed in 17. We got screwed in 18. People don't talk about that one either. Those red punks were cheating too.
Yep.
Okay, so they did the baseball, and Mr. Manfred decided to do what a lot of shitty parents do. They just let their kids go without repercussion, and that's a microcosm of society. We just let bad behavior go. Well, it's not that big of a deal. Well, when you let it go a little bit here, then it goes to the next level. Then you let it go there, then it goes to the next level. Then all of a sudden, you let something go too far, then you have 400-pound behemoths sitting in front of you during opening ceremony, acting like they're Jesus. There, I gave Cool Bro one for that one.
And on that note, it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us. Again, we'll be back hopefully tomorrow with some more good stuff for you. Talking more about the Lakers. We'll focus on a little bit more about the Lakers and any news that comes along there. Joe, any last thoughts, my friend, before we head on out?
It's funny, Darren, you mentioned Oral Hershiser. So Oral Hershiser comes off as a massive dork. I guess one of my friends ended up running into him at a bar, and I guess he was hitting on some chick. And he got pissed that the guy asked for an autograph. Oh, man. I just thought that was funny since he brought him up. Oral Hershiser hitting on a chick in a bar. I didn't see that one. Based off his mundane, falling asleep, dorky, nerdy delivery with him and Joe Davis when they're doing the play-by-play.
Well, again, it is Gerald Glassford and Joe Scoro. He said he met the Bulldog in a grocery store.
Yeah, he did. He did win in 88. I think I heard a stat that was funny. I heard a stat, I think it was a couple weeks ago, where the last MVP to not have 30 home runs, 100 RBIs, and not hit 300 was Kirk Gibson that year.
Fair enough.
So he was MVP of the league, and he ended up being the MVP in spirit. And the 1988 World Series. So it's not always about the numbers. Usually, sometimes these voters get it right. Although, actually, I've always liked the baseball voters. I think they've always voted accurately. That's why their whole Hall of Fame thing. I think they got pressured into putting more people in the last few years. Unfortunately, some of the people they've put in is just terrible. I don't even.
Still think they missed out on Garvey.
Yeah, they
never
missed out
talk me
on
down
Garvey. I
on
mean,
Hall.
they've put in they put in Scott Rowland. They put in Tim Raines. I don't know.
Garvey's two-time NL MVP, All-Star
Yeah,
MVP,
yeah. I
World
mean, Dale
Series
Murphy's still
champion.
not in the.
How many games did he
How do
play?
you
at
not
first
put in
base
Dale
this
Murphy?
season?
He's
Yeah,
a
Dale Murphy.
back-to-back MVP.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
yeah, again, who they choose sometimes it's not an exact science. Okay, steroid guys, if you want to just classify them as something else, whatever. But like I said, when you guys can't even give me an excuse on Steve, oh well, what they use the new stats they throw at some of the old guys like Garvey, whatnot, Joe. They always throw those new stats that they never utilized before in the reasoning why they don't think Steve Garvey or some others would be a Hall of Famer. So, I mean, I just don't think that you can actually apply those newer metrics to older players and just base it off of what they did and what they accomplished at that point in time. But that's just me. That's just me.
Do you think that Barry Bonds will ever get in?
Yes, at some point in time. I don't think you.
Is it going to be the Veterans Committee that gets him in?
Probably.
So now, if he gets in, do they have to let in Roger Clemens, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Rafael Palmeiro?
Pete Rose.
Pete Rose. The reason why I believe he will get in when he's dead is because there is some kind of vindictive old school club that seems to amoeba like every 10 years into other people. They don't want that guy in the world. They don't want that guy to be alive to experience the Hall of Fame. They'll put him in after he's dead, is my guess.
Darren, are you talking about George Brett? He almost hit for 400 one year.
Yeah, it was 1980. I think he hit 388. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, 388. Tony Gwynn in 1994, before the strike, was hitting 294.
Do you think in today's modern era where, I mean, we see, that's the one thing it's hard for me to get back into baseball full time, Joe, is just I see a lot of these guys that are regulars in lineups, Joe, that are like under the Mendoza line. And you and I, when we first started watching baseball, if you were under 200, if you were under 220, you were not playing out there on the field. You were a terrible hitter. And now we see guys regularly in the 150s, 170s, as far as average is concerned. And that to me is just bad. I mean, striking out left and right. I understand it's a different game. It's all about analytics now, but man, do you think in this day and age you'll ever see someone close to 400 ever again?
If Ichiro didn't hit 400, there will never be another 400 hitter.
Yeah.
That was the guy that might have been able to do it. Singles hitters are going to be more apt to have a shot at having a high percentage. The reason why Barry Bonds was he was anointed as the greatest hitter of all time was because he hit at a high average with power.
And he got on base. He got a lot of walks.
Well, he got on base because he was the most walked player of all time.
Yeah.
But in terms of his hitting, I try to imagine if Barry Bonds wasn't trying to hit the ball out of the park, could he have hit 400?
Good point.
We had a chance with Tony Gwynn in 94. We had a chance. And we also had a chance of Matt Williams that year, who hit 44 home runs before the strike, that he might have eclipsed Roger Maris's record at that time. I didn't hear any steroids from them either, so it would have been a legit run. That '94 year was a travesty because he also had the Montreal Expos in first place. They might have had a chance to win it all, and maybe they still stay in Montreal. It was really bad when you look back in '94. There's so much stuff we could have seen that greed ended up killing.
But once again, it is
Darren, the Angels got a gift from Dusty Baker in that one, unfortunately. Well, not
how so.
Well, I think taking out his guy and basically giving him the game ball in front of the Angels in the 8th inning.
Okay, yeah, I remember. Yeah, you're right.
Come on, Dusty, don't do that. We might be looking into it too much. It probably would happen anyways. I don't know. But I remember thinking when I saw that on the mound, I was like, Dusty, what are you doing? And yeah, we all saw how that turned out. That was a strike, wasn't it? Was it a lockout or was it a strike?
I think it was a strike. NFL's the only one that had a lockout. Am I mistaken?
No, the NBA is the only one that had a lockout. Well, the owner's doing it as a lockout.
Yeah. So technically, you're right.
It is a lockout. I think it was a lockout. And
if they don't come to agreement, then yeah, it's a strike/lockout situation. So, yep, that's the only time, Darren. That's the only time. And now, again, as I was telling Jamie the other day, because I've left my Angels fandom has left, and I told him, I said, you know what? As the news came with Mike Trout being sat down again because his rehab in the minors, one game and his knee already started hurting. It's over. It's done. You had your chance. It's like the Lakers, Joe. Mismanagement and how that affects your future is really, really can really do a lot of damage. It's really, really bad. Angels should have traded away Ohtani and Trout for a massive haul of players and picks and did not. And now they pay the price. And Dodgers will forever reign supreme as for baseball in Southern California.
I don't think anybody was going to give the Angels anything for Ohtani anyways. I mean, they may have gotten a few things, but
2 years ago, I was talking about this over 2 years ago.
As far as Trout, they had a chance probably 3 years ago to dump him to Philly or New York, but
they didn't.
I think Artie wants that draw still. Those guys are he'll milk the draw as much as he can, and then that's it. And the reason why Ohtani went to the Angels from the beginning is because of the DH. If the Dodgers had if the NL had the DH in 2014, he would have went to the Dodgers.
Yes.
Yeah. But anyways, I a little bit of me hopes that. Geez, I don't even know if this is something I would want to know about. I would hope it'd be more secret. But I'm hoping that once the Dodgers flame out again because of that dipshit manager, maybe Ohtani goes and talks to Friedman and says, hey, look, man, you guys have a reputation of having shitty leadership here. Can you maybe get a better manager, someone that can actually, at the very least, get guys to get pumped up a little bit? Because we're kind of tired of this.
Well, on that note, it is the Lakers fast break. A lot of other stuff we're talking about because it is a slow part of the season, but we will be talking some Lakers tomorrow or when we come back on the road next, because we definitely want to go ahead and bring you with some more stuff. I know that John Costa is going to be doing a Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner coming up here soon as well. So big shout out to those channels. Joe, been a very interesting conversation. Hopefully we'll hear more tomorrow about something going on with Team USA or the Lakers. So glad AD didn't get hurt when he got that ankle turn. I was like, oh, here we go again. But Joe, Team USA on to the quarterfinals, my friend.
He has that ankle thing happen every other game. Why are we surprised?
Yeah, that's true. But Gabriel, like he stepped wrong on Gabriel's foot, or Gabriel like pinned his foot. It's like it was like a weird thing that happened when I watched the replay. But he is okay. You think they should just keep starting AD at this point and have Embiid come off the bench?
I don't care.
Okay.
Just win these games.
It
doesn't look like they're really going to need to put a lot of effort in this. There's no one in Serbia, there's no one in Puerto Rico, there's no one in France that's good enough to compete with this team. Just make your open shots, distribute 20 minutes to each guy, and call it a day. Win this next 4 games. Just get the gold, get the hell out of there.
And on that note, we'll be back tomorrow for more good stuff, hopefully, and then also Friday as well. So looking forward to a good rest of the week with you, along with us, Joe Soro, and myself, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again watching and listening. Big shout out to all people out there who have liked our video for today. And hopefully you've subscribed as well, because we're getting magically close to that 1,800 mark for subscribers. So please make sure you subscribe today to get the latest notifications on when we go live right here on the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.